I swear I thought this was Adult Tiki on first impression. I mean, green hair, same color scheme. Okay, cool. So I don't know totally so much about Genealogy of Holy War. I haven't played it, but I want to. I think Fire Emblem Heroes is definitely a good advertising campaign for some of these older games. So before we really talk about every unit individually, my perception of this game as a whole is that I go into it with an open slate. So I'm not going to give any sort of biased point of view when it comes to, the characters. And I understand some people will like the characters. I know they're quite popular. So I'm going to keep it as objective as possible without throwing my bias at it. Let's do it. Genealogy of the Holy War. Wasn't expecting this one, actually.
My late father's goals are my own.
First impression, Aris's art looks cool. His tag is hilarious. He's Black Knight. I don't know where that origin comes from, but there's already like 2 other Black Knights in the game, so cool. He's sharing the exact same thing as his dad is, which is the red horse sword. This is a very saturated pool, as you guys probably know, with Xander being there, Eldigan himself being there. You got Sigbert, you got Roy, Brave Roy, and you got Elwood at the 3-star availability, so it's a very saturated pool. Yeah, of course, you got Kane and Luke, I guess, too, if you're really into that. But it's a very saturated pool. You even got, most recently, Meister Schwertz, Reinhardt. Yeah, somebody's going to hate me for that one. That Reinhardt's also in the pool now. But, there's plenty of options here, and if he's your favorite, then this is what I'm going to really go with here for using this sort of guy. But we'll look at the skills first before we really go into more analysis here. Alright, so he's got an upgraded Mistletoe. We know right away that this means, because the name sharing there, that most likely Eldigan will also be able to obtain this weapon through a refinement later down the road. So far, that's been consistent in the patterns. What's really cool about this weapon, though, is the fact that it's worked the same way as the regular Mistletoe by lowering the special cooldown charge. It's like a killing edge slaying weapon. But what's really different, and this, I'm glad they're adding something unique like this, is that once a special actually happens, and it says before or during combat, so not after, no Gale Force shenanigans. What this means is that if you AoE special or you use your special during combat, as soon as the combat's done, then you get 2 charge reduced right away. Now, because it is cooldown charge -1, you can actually just look at his Draconic Aura straight there on his base kit and say, okay, that Draconic Aura has 2 charge. So what that means is you fight, you use your Draconic Aura, and Draconic Aura will literally be charged, ready to go after every fight that follows that. That is extremely good in the player's hands, okay? But I want to talk about the difference between the player's hands and the enemy hands. So as an enemy phase unit, I think that Akariss is not going to be that great unless you somehow let him charge up his special by letting him use a special on you. But in player hands, this is crazy strong, like crazy strong. So if his Draconic Aura, even if, okay, so you find his best stat, best special, that's a 3-charge special. And as long as you get this going, as soon as you charge it once, it's going to be crazy because I'm looking at his kit. I don't really care too much about Brazen Attack Defense or Seal Defense Res, but what I see in here is like that crazy Sword Reinhardt build that we have, which is like Distant Counter Vantage Quick Riposte, where like you attack into Reinhardt and he just like doubles you back and does like insane damage and he can literally checkmate units. Yeah, guys, this guy, he has this special charge, so if you gave him Vantage with Distant Counter and you've set up his special once, he's gonna literally blow up everything. Like with Hone Cavalry and Goad Cavalry, he can checkmate enemy teams the same way as like that Sword Reinhardt could. So I think the synergy between Dark Mistletoe, Draconic Aura, Bonfire, whatever his best stat happens to be, we'll find out once we know about the stats, is gonna set up some really good things in the player's hands. But the thing is, the enemy units, like enemy phase units, you're not gonna let them set up like that. So this is a really good player unit, but I don't think he'll be that great on as an enemy unit because you're not gonna be able to charge that up. The actual skill availability here, though, Brazen Attack Defense, this is great that it's finally available. It was previously only available on Winter Crom, so now that we have it here in the permanent pool, I can really appreciate that. And as soon as they keep releasing more, I'll be really happy about it. Seal Defense Res, I don't think we had this before. I don't see anybody using it.
You scoundrel!
Okay, I wanted to pause here just for a second because if you looked at Draconic Aura, you'll know that it's 30% of the attack. His attack stat shown here is 36, 53 is how much is delivered, so we know that Draconic Aura has added an additional 17 bonus damage. This means that it's going to do his attack stat has to be at least 51 in this clip for Draconic Aura to do that. We also know that based on his health pool there that he's likely in Brazen range. I think so. Pretty sure he is. So we can tell that his attack has to be probably higher than 30 unless he's receiving buffs here. And I would probably guess that his attack stat, based on how much damage is delivered here, that it's either between 30 to 35. They haven't released an under 30 unit yet, the under 30 attack unit, but it ends either way. If his attack is anything over 30 with proper buffs, goads, hones, and if you do keep the brazen and you don't really need a distant counter, just putting advantage on his set is going to be insane. You can just do crazy checkmating enemy builds. That's what I see. That's definitely like one of the best builds I can see on this guy, and Eldigan too, obviously, once he can refine into it, but we'll see. There's going to be more than that, obviously. It's just the one unique thing that I really see out of this character, and definitely would promote it if you do ended up using him at some point.
Aren't you used to seeing dancers around here?
I swear I thought this was Adult Tiki on first impression. I mean, green hair, same color scheme. Sword Dancer. We can tell right away. The title was Yearning Dancer. So before we even look at the skills, we can really just look at the character and be like, this is a dancer. Another sword dancer. It means she's competing with Olivia. But this is okay because all the other dancers had competition except Olivia and Colorless. All the other ones had like a different color to choose from. You had Ninian and Shigure, Inigo and Axura. Olivia was by herself both in the red and the colorless slots, so that's kind of cool. And I think Azura, regular Azura was also blue. So it's cool that they've added another red option. I can definitely appreciate that. We'll see what she really comes with to really make a final decision here. So this here, as you can see by Safeguard, if you don't already know, plus means that it is an inheritable weapon. This is how it's usually indicated. It's the same effect as Tana's weapon, or Berkut's weapon, but like defense. It's a static 7. It's also refinable. It should be refinable because all the not all plus weapons are refinable, but Berkut's lance is refinable. So there's a good chance that this is refinable. I don't think the actual effect on it will get enhanced, but at least you can add more HP and defense or res on it, and that's always appreciated. But either way, red units having this as an available option, especially those that don't have a preference weapon, is going to be insane. So take your highest defense sword unit, which is Hinata, like at 3-star rarity, and he's going to become invincible against all melees. It's like the red Lucas, like if Lucas had a safeguard in the blue slot, you can make some units invincible, like on defense tiles, steady breaths, closed defenses and such. So I think that's really cool. Yeah, dance, of course, we can expect that as an assist skill. She is a dancer after all. Firestorm Dance though, this is kind of interesting. We never had a super offensive B skill for dancing, so I can really appreciate something like this happening, especially since all the other ones weren't really that good. There was like Blaze Dance, Gale Dance, Geyser Dance, and they weren't that good because they were mostly like defensive stats and they're harder to use. They weren't so good, but with offensive stats, they're fairly good. If you ever used Axura, where she buffs 3 to all stats with her legendary weapon, you know how good that weapon can be. However, this is not, I want to clear up a misconception, this is not a good skill to use with Blade Mages, because Blade Mages want their buffs at the beginning of a turn, and by dancing you're wasting a dancer turn to set up extra attack stats on Blade Mage, and that's generally not a good usage of a dance. So be sure to have some sort of maybe 4 defense, 4 res running with her, like through the seal and the C skill, and then maybe using Firestorm Dance, but that's only if you trust your Blade Mage to actually secure kills without appreciating the attack and speed. I think what's really good here is maybe for the low attack tank units, giving them those extra stats will make them a lot more powerful. Now, Sword Valor is the 3rd time we've seen this. It came on Gray first, then it came on E-Chrom, Exalted Chrom, and now we have it on the Dancer. If you've looked at my previous impression videos, you'll know that I make a prediction on what unit gets demoted, and so far I've been pretty accurate with that, other than Fallen Celica, but that was such a crazy high quality banner that I guess we could have expected that nobody there to get demoted. But generally you can tell, and one of my best examples of this was female Morgan and male Morgan. Male Morgan had a legendary weapon, but he only had 4 skills, and the other 2 had 5 skills on that banner. So on this banner we have 2 units with 4 skills, and that's this one here, Lene, and before that was Akariss. And Akariss has a legendary weapon and Lene does not. They both have 4 skills, which means they're both technically candidates still to be demoted, but based on what I see here, I think Lene is going to be demoted just because she doesn't have that legendary weapon. It's kind of awkward though, because now you're going to have a choice between Olivia and her, and I guess it's appreciated for Arena Assault or Squad Assault and you're just using more dancers. Like, it's great to just not have dancers in a seasonal pool. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Safeguard being more available is going to create some cool builds on other units, of course.
I'll show you what I can do.
Reinhardt served me ever since I was a child.
Why is she frowning? Is that a frown? It's such an awkward pose. And is that snow on her shoulders? No, that can't be snow. Okay, regardless, I think the art is a little strange on her, but I know a lot of people really like Ishtar, and if I played Fire Emblem 4, I think I probably would too. I don't know anything about the characters, so this really strikes me as weird. She said Reinhardt though, so I guess that's pretty cool. Blue Mage Infantry, that means she's sharing with Lute, Micaiah, Tail2, Odin. We also got May and Delphia. Those are the ones that come to mind right away. So we'll see how she fits in through that block. There hasn't been any Blue Mage to my knowledge that's tanky with high speed. That hasn't really happened yet. Oh wait, Odin, but Odin doesn't even have an attack stat. We'll see. Anyways, here's Mjolnir. This is the first time we're getting a killer tome, and that's crazy good. At least for me, the way I look at a killer tome, like lowering that cooldown effect, is actually insane. Okay, so if you guys ever seen my Omega Lilina, you'll know that I've been wanting some sort of killer tome for the longest time. Unfortunately, this is not a inheritable tome, but if Ishtar she actually has a high attack stat, it means that she doesn't need Quick Impulse to pull off that AoE special build that my Lilina runs, and she could be a prime candidate for switching up some seal options to make her more versatile than the one-shot build that my Lilina runs. Like, for instance, you could probably make her more enemy phase oriented, maybe give her distant defense seal, or, you know, give her, I don't know, like a smoke or something, and it's just some more like versatile instead of being locked into a quick impulse seal. So if her attack stat ends up being like 35, then she's gonna be really good option for an AoE special build. Now, why I'm even saying that though is because she actually comes with this totally new skill as well, Odd Attack Wave, and Odd Attack Wave lets you self buff every odd turn for 6. Like, I'm not even looking at the part where you buff your other allies for +6, but the fact that you can buff yourself for +6 means that there's some really good options here for, you know, the AoE builds. There wasn't a way to use an infantry pulse user with the AoE specials to buff yourself for +6 because you needed all these people giving infantry pulse and quick impulse, and you couldn't go mixed team comps because you needed infantry pulse. So the fact that you can use something like Odd Attack Wave means that there's an additional 2 extra attack that can be used not only for Lilina now, but for Ishtar. I don't think she's going to steal all the thunder. Get it? Mjolnir? Thunder? Haha. Anyways, she's not going to steal all the thunder because Lilina still has that chill res, and she has a death blow. She also has like up to 40 attack plus attack, plus she has merge ability by being a 3-star available unit. So yeah, I don't think that's just one thing I see out of Ishtar. She's probably going to have way more build options. I mean, for you're just looking at the base kit, you can already see that Moonbow is going to be 1 charge. She comes with Sparrow again. So many units coming with this skill lately. And Swift Sparrow plus Odd Attack Wave plus her Mjolnir has that secondary effect for adding Darting Blow, like +6 speed. She's gonna be pretty nuts, like +10 speed on initiation, possibly +10 attack on odd turns. That's insane. Okay, don't use Vantage though. It doesn't make any sense with the rest of her kit because it's all like player phase. And just change Vantage to something else like Desperation. We're pretty much good to go on her kit. It works really well with Moonbow too. Last thing I'll say though is my opinion on Odd Attack Wave and wave skills in general that may follow up from this skill. I don't like the idea of them because if you play, arenas or something, you could end up getting cornered, or you could be in a situation where maybe you use a lot of enemy phase units, and relying on a buff like that to get a kill is really inconsistent and unreliable. So you would need to not only calculate damage, but you need to actually calculate on which turns you would have that damage to secure your kills, and that's really inconsistent. So I don't see this being as great as it looks on paper, because once you test it on practicality, it just ends up, yeah. I don't expect it to be that good. So it looks good on paper, but be very wary and don't be pulling for like that skill. I just don't think that'll be a really good usage of orbs, because this is another set of skills which we may see in seals, which we may see in 4-star availability months down the road. And I think this looks good on paper, but I just don't think it'll be that good in practice yet. We'll see though.
Mjolnir's Wrath.
That is a sick animation though. Definitely a sick animation. Who is this guy? What is this? Did Surtur go to like, did we just go back in time or something? Okay, I'm gonna reserve my opinion on this one. Auto Battle got a new little icon here too. That's pretty cool. But yeah. Okay, so this is coming out in a couple hours from when this video comes out. Probably, it might even be out at the same time as this video comes out, but this is, again, my initial impressions on all permanent banners. If you guys have seen, what I say about this sort of stuff, but in general, you shouldn't be pulling for permanent units, especially with the summoning pool being drastically decreased in size. There's a good chance that these units may pity break you down the road. They're not seasonal units, they're not time locked. When the banner expires, you'll still see them on other banners in the future, legendary banners. You'll still see them on focus banners, maybe a banner with dancers now, and you have like Olivia, Lene, Azura, and Ninian. You have like 4 dancers there, and boom, you don't have to like rush to get these units. Now I understand if they're your favorite units, and make sure you justify they actually are your favorite units before you go pulling for them. They are not that special. None of these characters. I think Ishtar is by far the most unique here, with Akariss having a really interesting niche, as I talked about earlier, but they are not like some sort of game-breaking units. It's just more of the same, okay? So don't spend your orbs, don't ride the hype, okay? Just chill out, give it a few days, and we have some really big legendary banners coming up, guys. If you've been following my predictions, if you're following these banners, you'll know that the next legendary banners are going to have winter units on them, man. Winter Chrom, Winter Lisa, Winter Robin, Winter Tharja. We see some New Year's units coming up as well. You're going to see some New York Azura with Home Flyers. You're going to see Tsukumi with Kagami Mochi, which is still a limited dagger. And you're going to see Camilla as well, which is Karamatsu and Speed Bond, which is really good. So I'm just saying, don't rush to get something that isn't so special. Choose your legends as well. It could be coming in about 2 months or so, 2 to 3 months. So as I said, hopefully if you do get these units, you can look back on this and get some good ideas. So thanks guys. As always, peace.